So you've hit a perfect drive down the middle and you've left yourself 150 meters into the green. That's a perfect 7-iron. And instead of hitting the iron pure onto the green, we hit that thin shot and the ball goes scuttling along the ground. Doesn't go very far, doesn't feel very good, vibrates through your fingers, just not what we're looking for. In today's video, I'm going to go through the 3 keys that I believe will help you hit crisp and pure iron shots. So let's get into it. Okay, so key number 1 is ball position. Now it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But it's so important when it comes to striking your irons pure. Now, normally, depending on what iron you're using, if you're using a wedge, a sand wedge, pitching wedge, 9-iron, those short scoring clubs, then it's good to have the ball positioned pretty much in the center relative to your heels. Now, I always look at ball position relative to your heels because players often stand differently with their toes depending on their hip mobility and how they like to address the ball. So always look at it in relation to your heels. So that would be a short scoring iron position. As you move to, say, a 7 or a 6-iron, then you'd move that slightly forward, close to about a ball's width further forward in the stance, and the longer iron, 4 or 5, that little bit further as well. So I've got a 7-iron here, so we're going to move it just slightly ahead of center. Now, what would happen if you had the ball too far forward? For example, if it's too far forward like this, the golf swing's on an arc. This is a very small version of a golf swing, but if you can imagine the bottom of that arc of the swing, if you have the ball too far forward, oftentimes that's going to be behind the ball, and by the time you get to the ball, you're going to catch it a bit more on the upswing, and you're going to catch it with the leading edge of the club and catch the ball halfway up the equator. And that's not a very nice feeling, just like I had before, especially if you're back in England and some of those countries where it gets super cold in the winter. So ball position, key number 1. Short scoring irons, pretty much in the center, 7 and 6-iron, about a ball's width forward. And what that's going to do is give you a chance to get the low point of your swing ahead of the golf ball. And that will help us hit down, get that nice ball turf interaction, that nice compression that we look for with the irons. So important with ball position. So ball's in the middle now, and now I can really get that ball turf contact. So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is weight distribution, how you move your weight throughout the swing. More importantly, through in the forward motion of your swing. So a lot of times players that will catch the ball thin or catch behind the ball would often be because their weight tips too far back and remains back in a downswing, again causing strikes behind the ball or that thin or even top shot as well. So it's generally what we call hanging back, where the weight moves back here and you really don't get through the ball, and again you get that thin or even top shot by hanging back. That was a good example of a top shot there. So important to get that weight forward in the through swing. So what you want to do, particularly with your irons, is when you get to the top of the swing, you want to feel like you've got more weight shifting onto that lead side. So you feel a bit of pressure moving into that lead foot, into this side, and what that's going to do is get you moving and get your lower half moving more towards or ahead of the ball, which will get the low point ahead of the ball as well. So I'll just demonstrate that one there. So in the backswing, just note that we don't want to move off the ball with the irons. You want to stay pretty centered over it. And then in the downswing, we're going to move forward, push off the ground and move our weight this way. Belt buckle then facing the target, our body nicely over our lead foot, and that ensures that we get the weight moving forward. So here we go. Ball slightly ahead of center, to the center, move forward. We've really got that beautiful ball turf strike. So that's key number 2. Key number 3 is impact and just understanding where you actually want to be at impact. So this is a drill I just call like the impact fix. So what I want you to do is firstly just preset yourself in impact. Now sometimes I don't even mind an iron player, with the irons, to have the hands slightly ahead of the ball anyway, because that's going to encourage that nice shaft lean at impact. But when you're doing this particular drill, impact would look more like this. So our body would be moving slightly left towards the target, that it's bumped across, hips rotating slightly, but more importantly those hands are leading or ahead of the golf ball. So you get this lovely straight line here down to the ball, where your hands are pretty much opposite your lead thigh. And what that's going to do, it's also going to deal off the club. It's going to get the ball to hit more in that fourth or fifth groove. It's going to give you a low penetrating flight. It's going to help you hit the ball, then the turf after. It's going to feel fantastic. So this drill is getting you to preset into impact. So here's setup, here's impact, and then from here what we want to do is just swing back to about halfway, and then we're going to try and recreate that feeling we've just had at impact, back to here, and then through to a nice full finish with that weight moving forward. So let's give that a go. So here's our setup. We're going to get into impact, we're going to swing back and through. So there are my top 3 keys for hitting pure iron shots every single time. I hope that helped. If you have any questions, please let me know, and please like and subscribe to the channel. Lots more great content to come. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.